morning.
How are you? I'm doing well.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'll use that same line. Any better, I'd be on vacation.
I know you do say that, and then everyone's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
what?
is that really? Is she really? Somebody was talking to somebody that I know. I think it was actually my niece, and they were talking to her, and they're like, "Is she really as genuine as she sounds and kind as she sounds on the radio show?"
Well-
I'll let Tim answer that. Tim, what are your thoughts?
Yes, she is. I don't know why anyone would think that about you.
Why would
Sharon.
anyone
Come
doubt
on.
that? My first thought when you said that is, all I could hear you say is, somebody that I know said something to somebody else. I'm like, what?
Where is she going with
Where's
this?
she going? Well, you know what? I just want to say hello to, hopefully we have some of our Tuesday night listeners. If you are a Tuesday night listener or, just a Saturday morning listener, we have decided to give up our Tuesday night show. So this past Tuesday was our last live Tuesday show, and we welcomed everybody from Tuesday to join us Saturday. So hopefully we have some brand new listeners today, but we're still ourselves. So if you loved us on Tuesday, you're gonna love us today too. But if you
The weekend edition is even better.
The weekend edition is even better. Thank you so much, Tim.
Oh, you're
And you know
welcome.
what? We're that much better because of Tim.
Oh, please. Oh, thank you.
We're giving you all of the kudos.
Oh, all right.
We're just gearing up for election day. Is an election always on a Tuesday?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
We're just gearing up for election.
Yeah, we've
There you go.
decided to give up Tuesday so we can go vote.
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
I always vote in the morning because I never want to take the chance that because I always have good intentions. You know what I mean? Throughout the day, it's always like, oh yeah, I'll do that later after I do this, that, and the other thing. But as my daughter Mackenzie tells me, she's like, Mom, I think you have time blindness. I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, you do believe that you can get anywhere in 5
do,
minutes,
I
and
do.
somehow
I manage.
You manage it.
I manage. I don't even know how.
Sometimes I'm like, what?
Where is she going?
I'll be on the phone with you, and you're like, oh, I just got off the highway, and then all of a sudden you're in the. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
How did she get here?
How did she get here
She's
so
got that
fast?
rocket ship to get around with. So, you know.
She does. She's got a beautiful rocket ship.
Exactly.
Yesterday was beautiful. I don't know what happened today, but hopefully it'll become more beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. It's supposed to.
Yeah.
It's not raining or anything.
No.
And you know what? Let's face it, it could be a lot worse, you know. So prayers to all of our Floridian and Southern friends. My goodness, I was watching the news last night. And, I wasn't really paying attention to this storm. To be honest, I don't even know what its name was. What was its name?
Helen?
Helene?
Helene?
Helene. Okay.
Helene. Yeah.
And I, wasn't really paying attention, but, I have a lot of friends on Clubhouse that I bring on usually every Saturday. And, a lot of them are from down south. And I heard them and I was like, oh, I should pay attention. So before I went to bed so when did the storm hit, last night or the night before? Whatever. The night before, I put on the Weather Channel. And I was like, this is serious, because they came out and said, we are telling you to evacuate. If you do not and you choose to stay where you are, please write your name and your date of birth in Sharpie on your arm.
Wow.
That in itself would have been enough for me to say, all right, we're out of here.
Yeah, we're out of here. I know.
Let's go.
I know. I did check in some of my friends who still live in Florida, because I went to college in Florida, and they seem to be okay. They're more inland. But my friend was supposed to fly to Florida this morning, and her whole entire trip got canceled. The resort was canceled. Her flights were canceled. So, she'll recover.
Yeah.
But
And I'm sure that there will be plenty of things for us to do so we can, help support our friends down there, but also watch out for the scams. I think we did a whole show on scams, didn't we, with Tim Cruise?
yeah,
Remember we did during COVID?
I know we did that one, and we've
where,
done
where
other shows.
are our friends now that,
now that
now that they
COVID's-
don't need all the airtime every single week? Where are our friends?
Yeah, and where's my tour?
Yeah, where's our tour? The Sheriff McDonald. Where is our tour? We haven't forgotten.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so where are our friends? Now I'm stuck on that. But we are praying for you. We'll do everything that we can to make sure that everybody is safe.
Absolutely.
But we are live on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube. I almost said U2, like the band. U2.
Oh, you remember U2?
I think they're still
I don't think
out
they're
there.
still. Are they still out there? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, Bono and them, they're still
Yeah.
doing their
Oh,
thing.
Remember when
Bono.
everybody woke up one day and everybody had their new album on their iPhone? Everyone was mad.
No, I
You're
don't.
like, you don't remember. Okay.
I, don't. I threw away an iPod the other day.
Oh.
It was like one of those mini ones. Mark's
Huh.
like, "What do you want to do with this?" I go, "Nothing. Throw it away.
Oh.
I don't need."
You should have donated it.
I should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should've
I mean,
donated it.
it's one of those little ones. Do they even still work anymore? I mean,
I'm sure
If
Shakira.
if it charges up at wherever. Sorry.
on Saturdays we do karaoke.
Yeah, sure we do. Yeah.
Our,
Welcome to the
our
karaoke
Tuesday
show.
listeners are like, "Where'd the serious people go?"
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah, they're
okay?
gone. We only like silliness on Saturdays.
Yeah.
But like I said, we are live on all of the socials, so be sure to follow Boston Connect Real Estate, Sharon Costa McNamara, the McNamara Horton Group, Boston Connect TV on YouTube. We're waving. Hello.
Hello.
I can see that Dee is watching. I try
Hi,
to
Dee.
tune in on Tuesdays, but often don't make it.
Well, don't have to try anymore, Dee,
you don't have
because
to
here
try.
we are on Saturdays.
No
No,
need
more
to try.
Tuesday nights for us.
We did it for you.
Yeah.
But if you want to call or text the studio to talk to us, if you want to join in on our discussion, I promise we're going to be talking about real estate. You can call or text Tim at the studio, 781-837-4900. Again, that number is 781-837-4900. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can text or call Tim, and he'll get you to us. And I want to just on that Tuesday thing again. I don't know if people realize how difficult it is to do 2 shows in a week. I mean, because this isn't our job, right? Our job is selling real estate, running a real estate office. Melissa has 30 agents that she's responsible for, as am I, plus my own business, 2 subdivisions and blah, 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 and it's a lot of work. And I felt us getting into a position where I was like, well, didn't we just talk about that? And then I was like, I don't know that we're rotating enough where our Tuesday show, like we do one topic on a Tuesday and then we do a different topic on a Saturday. But we were always like, should we rotate? Were people listening on Tuesday? Do they not want to hear the same thing on Saturday? So I don't know. That was one of our decisions. So now we know that Saturday people will always be getting the topics.
Yeah. Contrary to the beginning of this show, we want to bring quality content.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to, educate everybody. And we're also educating ourselves too. So we love to have conversations and, the 2 shows a week. We just never wanted it to be repetitive. So, so now we're going to be focusing on Saturday and we love that you guys are joining in. Tracy Grady is watching us,
Hey,
full-time
Trace.
realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate. Hello. Ken McCormick. Hello, ladies. Enjoy your day.
Ken McCormick, I love
Hi.
you so. So Ken is a dear, good friend of mine, and I haven't seen him in a while. But anyways, I love him, and he knows that, and his wife. So yeah, there we go.
Hello.
Love you both. I love Tracy too. I don't know if I said that, but
Hi, Tracy. We love you.
yeah. And Tracy, if you want to join us, we can send you something so you can join us on StreamYard.
Yes,
So-
and our virtual producer says she can hear us on Instagram. So,
Perfect.
Hello. All right, well, let's get into it. So
Yeah.
I've said this before. We have this whole list of shows. We talk about real estate on this show, but every once in a while we'll say, oh my gosh, we should do a show on this, and we should do a show on this. So we have this whole list, and we picked from it, and we're going to be talking about buying and selling at the same time today. You have had a very healthy career here in real estate,
yeah.
and how often do you have clients that are buying and selling at the same time?
It happens frequently, to be quite honest. I think one of the things I'm starting to see, because I feel like the demographic of clients that I'm working with right now are where I am in life, right? So now it's a little different for me. Like I'm more on the listing side of things right now, because the demographic of my clientele is, that they're, moving down south, and, so they're just selling with me here and potentially buying down there. But a lot of times they're renting down south before, and they can sort of get their feelers out, see exactly where they want to be. And I think that is a great, great idea. I don't know that I could just, unless I went someplace and just absolutely was like, I have to live here, I would be worried about, how do I feel here? The
Yeah.
only place I would be willing to do that is Italy. You could put me anywhere in Italy other than Venice, and I would love it. Anything.
I've never been to Italy. I think the first step would be to get a passport.
You should get. Yeah, I've been telling you that for years. I
I
mean,
know.
honest to God. I mean, you ever hear that saying? I'm talking to a wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, for some reason, I have in my head, I don't have the time to go across the street and get my picture taken.
No,
at
well, I'm going to
CVS.
hold you accountable to this. So by the
Okay.
end of October, I want to know that your application. I've given you 4 weeks now.
Okay.
By the end of October, does Ethan have one?
Yes.
Okay, by the end of October, you're welcome, Ethan. I want you to have your application ready and sent in.
Okay.
All
I will
right.
do it.
And I will walk you across the street to CVS to get your little photo.
Tracy goes, "What? You don't have a passport?"
Exactly, Tracy, right?
No,
Seriously.
No, I don't. But you know what I do have is a house.
I know, one thing at a time.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. So last year you got the house. This year you're going to get the passport. Boy, I am just keeping you accountable on all things. Wonderful.
I love that.
Yeah. So with the whole thing with the buy-in and sell-in,
Yeah.
so where my career is now, so that's one demographic of people that they're, I like to call it right sizing. It's not a downsizer. It's the right size for you right now. And I have some clients that actually Ken McCormick actually introduced me to, and they are down south, and they reached out to me last week and just had a couple questions for me about the new NAR regulations and stuff like that. So I was talking to them, and they sent me some pictures, but they already had like a smaller place down there, like
Yeah.
a condo or whatever. I don't think it's small, but they have another place down there, and then they'll be finding exactly where they want to be, and they'll move on. And then the other demographic of clients I'm currently working with are which is going to bring us into our show next week, is, helping, selling your parents' home, whether they've gone into assisted living, a nursing home, environment, or if they passed away and you have to sell that property. So next week we will be talking about the emotions involved in all of that, and just in general. Selling your home.
Yeah, and how do you handle that? And
yeah.
and we are sort of a united front and a team, and there's a part of you that is like a therapist.
Yeah, there's a big part of me that's like a therapist.
There is a
I
big
think,
part
yeah.
of you like a therapist, not just to your clients, but to everybody else in life too. And I am being trolled by Tracy online now. You got a second cat, but not a passport. Now she's just bullying me.
A second what?
A second cat.
Yeah, I
You
know,
got a
right?
second cat, but not a passport. Yes.
Exactly. I think that Tracy. I think when she gets her passport, we should celebrate, and we should all like
somewhere?
Yeah, like let's go to Italy for like a 4-day.
Yeah, and we can say that we can
We're
scope
working.
out locations.
Well, I
for-
want to buy a villa in Italy, so let's make that dream come true.
Yeah, well, we can scope out a location
Is
for
Tracy in?
Boston Connect Real Estate, but in
How come
Italy.
I can't see Tracy up here? Is she texting you?
No, it's through your personal one.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then now she's laughing at me. I love that you said, like, where you're at in your career right now and in sort of the demographic that you're helping with. So, again, that will lead into our show next week. We generally come up with our ideas for what's going on, in our everyday life in this industry. But, yeah, buying and selling at the same time, I think, and also we've gone over this. I did a show with Kristen Howlett, who's a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, and she had clients that were selling here, but then buying in another state. So, there's so many layers to these things, but so it's not just buying and selling in the same area, but how do we navigate buying and selling in another state? If you're selling there and you're coming here, selling here and going there. So there is so many layers to this
There's
as well.
certainly so many moving pieces to the whole process. I mean, especially if you put in an international change, or if you're even just doing a national, from one state to another, there are so many moving pieces to that. And that's why, I keep on getting onto this thing about, ever since the NAR, and I never really harped on it before because, I have part-time agents here at our office, right? But I cannot express more the importance of having a full-time real estate agent. I just can't. I am looking at our agents here, Tracy and Jim being one of them, right? They're a team. Trish and Nick Flynn, another team, the full-time. Kristen Howlett, full-time. Ginny Wandell, full-time. Michelle Fay, full-time. And I know I'm skipping some others, but Faith Birmingham, full-time. And I'm looking at our agents who are doing this full time, and it's nonstop because not only are they working with their clients, they're coming to trainings, they're learning what's going on in the market. Whatchamacallit, one of our agents came in yesterday, Marianne Trask, another full-time agent here. She had said that she took a CE class on all the changes, that are going on with buyer agency. And she said, I am shocked at the questions that were being asked because nobody seems to be getting that training. And I understand it. For the people who are doing this part-time, it's not top of mind for them. So in situations like this, it's truly very, very important to have somebody. And I'm going to say something else too. I think when I'm the listing agent on a property and the other agent who is, brings in the buyer for my seller, when they're a full-time agent, that makes a difference too.
Yeah, it does.
It makes such a difference. So I'm working with somebody right now. She's in the Hingham area. Her client is, purchasing here in Pembroke. And, she had a question for me yesterday morning, but not early morning, 10:30ish. I respond. Oh, no, she actually got in touch with me the night before, 9:30 at night. And I was like, I don't know the answer to that question, but I will find out for you in the morning. I actually responded to her at 10:30 in the morning after I was able to get the answers that I needed. But that type of, you need that avenue of communication to be available all the time, especially if something comes up.
Yeah.
Right? I think Tracy probably knows better than anyone that things come up.
Yeah,
right.
Things come up. I know we talked about it last Saturday. Was it last Saturday or the Saturday before that I don't know, my days are blending together. But we were talking about, and I always start off with, what's going on with you guys? Oh, we have a caller.
Hello.
Yes, it's one of your fans, and you owe him a visit at his house in Plymouth.
Oh my gosh, what did I say to you the other day?
You just said this to me the other. She
you
literally
did?
said it to me this week. She's like, "We have to go see him." I go, I know.
Yep. Well, here he is, our buddy Dick in Plymouth.
Hi, Dick.
Hi, Dick.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. I hate to keep on bugging you, but it's been over a year.
You've been patient.
And I've been to your place twice.
Yes, I know. We actually literally just said it this week. We were both in the office and we were just sitting, we were just going through some stuff, and because I don't know if you heard, Dick, but we have given up our Tuesday night show, and I know you're a Saturday listener, but we were just talking about the show in general and everything, and I was like, oh, we have to go down there. Not going to lie, part of me really wants to see you. I want to see Jane. I know that it's really not Jane, but Dick and Jane, that's what we go by. And I want some limoncello.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna drink it all. Wait to see you guys.
Oh, come on, Dick. You got to save some.
You
Come
gotta
on
save
now.
some for us. I promise we're coming.
Yeah, I know. We are going to definitely put that in our calendar for sure. And I bet you it's really pretty there right now, right? Because you're right on one of the ponds and stuff. So
Oh, I bet the foliage
is awesome.
Beautiful.
Oh, and the trees are starting on the other side already.
Oh,
and,
nice.
What am I? See, I don't listen to you guys Saturdays anymore because I'm in the gym. I'm a little late today.
Oh,
Usually
yeah.
I'm in, and I'm not one of these guys who walk around the gym with headphones on. If somebody says hi to me, I say hi to them because everybody else has got headphones on. They're in their own world.
Yeah.
There's one fellow there in the gym. He listens to you, and I told him a couple of weeks ago. He says, they haven't been down to visit you. I said, no. So I'll call him up and bug him. And he texts you guys.
Yeah. Well, you know what you should do? You should go up to the front desk at the gym and say, hey, would you mind putting WATD on in the morning?
Yeah, they don't have a radio.
Then
go on.
you need a new
Everybody
gym.
has their own little thing.
No, if it's one of those big chain gyms, they have their own music that they play.
Oh, I see.
Right,
I see,
right,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
right.
All right. Well, maybe I'll buy you some headphones and you can listen to us at least for a little bit.
I have headphones and everything, but I just don't walk around listening.
Dick wants to be social at the gym.
Yeah.
I don't even text. I go to work out. I don't go to socialize.
That's
really.
good.
I do my thing and I get out.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
You go there, you pick things up, you put things down, and you go home, right?
Right.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
I look at the girls to get my heart rate up.
Oh,
Dick.
you're funny, Dick.
funny.
We promise we will come and visit. We did talk about you the other day, so you
It's
are
so
on
weird.
our
It's
list.
so
Yeah,
weird,
you're on our list. We promise. We promise.
It's going to be in October, before, while everything looks good. First part of October. Like I say, we don't need much warning whatsoever.
All right, do me a favor. I know we probably have your phone number somewhere. Do me a favor. When we hang up, can you just give that to Tim?
You've got it in our text, Sharon.
Oh, okay, perfect.
You've got it. I've sent it to you twice, I think.
Okay, great. Awesome.
All right, Tim, don't throw us under the bus.
Hey, I'm just, being honest.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Thanks.
calling in, Dick, and we'll see you soon.
All righty. Thank you.
Bye-bye. That was Dick from
Bye-bye.
Plymouth. He's wonderful. He's just,
So
and this
funny.
is one of the things I love about, our listeners here is, on Tuesdays, we didn't really get a lot of listeners, and I understand it's people who are driving home from work, and they're just like, I don't want to talk anymore today, but I love my Saturdays.
Yeah. And here we are on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Buying and selling at the same time. I feel like the first question that people ask you is, "What should I do first?"
Yeah.
So, what do you say when somebody asks that?
Yeah, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And that's definitely sort of how the scenario feels. Like you just don't know which way. And I would say it truly depends. It really does depend on so many different circumstances, where you are financially and how you want to set yourself up for the next property, right? So
Yeah.
if you have, and maybe I'll talk about what the issues would be, right? So maybe it's easier for me to explain it that way. But if you put your house on the market first and inventory is still low, so houses are still selling quite quickly. I would say that we're probably in certain price ranges not seeing as much of that emotional value. I feel like it's already sort of embedded into, the past months that we've had. That that emotional value is already sort of embedded in our sale prices right now. Putting in, there are multiple offers, not as many as we saw before. I know Mary, my team member, Mary Horton, she put in an offer for one of our clients, and I want to say it was out in Wellesley maybe, or she was out that way. But there were multiple offers. Their offer didn't get accepted. So there are still multiple offers out there. They're in a good position because they don't have anything to sell, so that makes them look good because they don't have anything to sell. If you have something to sell, it really does make things a lot more difficult if you are in a multiple offer situation when you want to buy something. So sometimes I'll say to my clients, all right, if you're not comfortable putting your house on the market now because you're like, I don't want to sell my house until I find someplace else to be. That's a real fear. And I can say, and I know you said earlier, in my career and all the houses I've sold, I recently was doing an information guide, just whatever, between myself and Mary and our team, and we've sold over 700 homes, right?
Yeah.
So that what was I saying? Oh yeah, so putting your house on first, and you're worried. I haven't had anybody that's ever been homeless, so that's a good track record.
Yeah. It's not bad out of 700.
Not bad at all. But we can put in stipulations and contingencies where we say, the sale of this property is contingent upon the seller finding and securing suitable housing. So that gives you the opportunity to sort of put your feelers out, put your house on the market, see if you do get offers. You will. And then generally speaking, as the listing agent, I'll let you know, I never put a timeline on that. Like I never say, okay, I want 30 days, you know what I mean, to find suitable housing. I sort of wait for that offer to come in and see which way. Again, another good reason to be using a full-time agent, because a full-time agent knows the best way to write up an offer to protect the buyer, right? So if you're on the buyer side, you're like, well, how long am I going to wait for this person to find a house? Right? So the buyer's agent should be privy to how to write that up. And it would be, buyer will give seller 30 days to find and secure a house. If that isn't put in the offer, I'm open-ended.
Yeah.
So you didn't put it in, that's sort of on you, not on me. So we can, continue to look. Generally speaking, by the time it gets, to the purchase and sales agreement, the attorneys are adding in that language.
Yeah, they'll add in the language because they want to wrap it up.
Exactly. And it isn't even really like a matter of wrapping it up. It's just like, how long do you wait? It could take somebody 2 years to find a house.
Well, I think that they don't like the open ending,
Yeah.
but it works well for you as a listing agent because your clients are looking for something and you know what it's like to not be able to find something.
Yeah.
But and when an attorney comes in, they say, "Oh no, we're putting dates on this."
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And they're going to put the hammer down.
Yeah, they're
So-
putting the hammer down.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, that's one aspect of not, putting your house on the market first. The benefit of doing that is, you get when you find the house that you want, you can say, I have my house under agreement, so I know I've already signed the purchase and sales agreement. I have a closing date. So if you are up against multiple offers, then that's, again, as a full-time real estate agent, I am taking the time as a buyer's agent to call the listing agent and say, hey, I just want to let you know a little bit about about my buyer client. They have a house to sell. It is contingent upon that for finances, but I want to let you know that that is all secure right now. They've had home inspection has been done on their property. They've signed the purchase and sales agreement. The buyer is a solid buyer. They, their loan to value is very good. Financially, they're secure. So we know that this is going to close. Then that listing agent can let her seller know, hey, I talked to Sharon McNamara. She told me that, her client's home, although they need those finances to proceed forward to buy your home, it's very much secure.
Yeah, I think it's definitely situational, and I always hate to say, like, it depends, because I sound like an attorney, or we sound like an attorney when we say that, but, sometimes, people are in a great financial situation where they can purchase something before selling their house and still do the process sort of at the same time, but maybe not have them contingent on each other. I've seen that's great for them. And I always say, like, whenever somebody, because I see everybody's closings that come into the office, that's just what my position is here at Boston Connect Real Estate. And sometimes I see, like, the client's name of, they purchased something and then, like, 2 weeks later it's, oh, they sold something. I'm like, I always say to myself, wow, good for them. Good for them, they were able to do that.
Yeah, and it is a lot, to put it all together. And one of the things that you hit upon was, do you have the finances? I think you maybe said this, like, do you have the finances to maybe not worry about selling your house right now and then going forward with buying? I will say that if you don't have your house on the market and you're in that pool of buyers who are looking at the same exact thing with multiple offers, it's if you have something to sell and it isn't even on the market yet, it is going to be extremely difficult for your offer to get accepted. I am plain and simple.
Oh, we have another caller.
I keep on thinking that's my phone ringing.
No.
I guess it
That's
is.
It is. It's the Talk Real Estate phone ringing. There you go. We have Dee in Plymouth.
Hi, Dee. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm so excited you're doing this show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know you had
As
asked.
you know, I've been dragging my feet.
Did you have a certain question for us, Dee?
Well, sort of.
Okay.
So I have to sell my house in order to buy another house, but I don't have a mortgage on my house. So I'm hoping to keep it that way.
Yep.
So I would potentially be a cash buyer.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, Dee, that's really interesting. So I just want to let you know, Mel will probably agree. I'm a pretty tough listing agent, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, when I see offers like yours come through that says, hey, I have a great offer. Let's just say a house is on the market for $500. Dee comes with, a buyer's agent. Of course, she would choose somebody from Boston Connect Real Estate because she's one of our raving fans. And she puts in an offer on my listing for, let's just say, $525, right? Because there's multiple offers. And she says, I'm cash. She may be cash, but it's after. It's still contingent
Right.
upon the
Yeah.
sale of her house. So is it really cash? Like, those are the conversations I'm having with my sellers, right? It is cash, but she has, in order for her to get the cash, there is a little bit of a road to get to that.
Yeah. She's cashed after she sells her house.
Exactly.
Which can happen at the same time. Again, it's sort of a domino effect. So then you would have to get somebody that, would purchase your house and what's their situation situation? Are they selling something? It's sort of
Who's their agent?
Who's their agent? Are they cash? Are they financing? What's going on with them? So there is sort of a domino effect, but it's always so important to be, consistently in contact with everybody who is involved in the transaction.
Yes. And I would say, too, Dee, you bring up such a good point and something that we hear all the time. And this recently happened with one of our listings. And the other agent was, yep, well, my client is a cash buyer. My client is a cash buyer. My client is a cash buyer. And I was like, so what? I don't care. Because other buyers who come who have a mortgage, guess what? At the end of the day, you're not showing up with a bag filled with green, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, here, you're not showing up at the, here's a brown paper bag filled with cash, right? That isn't how it works. And I always say that to my sellers, like, honestly, to me, does it really matter if it's cash or if it isn't? At the end of the day, it's cash to you in your bank account, whether it's coming directly from, a person or coming from a bank. Now, with that said, there are some things that you don't have to worry about, like maybe an appraisal. But I want to tell you, and I'm very surprised by this, Mel, and I wish I had thought about taking note of this with some of the some of the offers that are coming in through the office that are cash. How many of those agents actually put, yes, I'm cash, but it still will be contingent upon an appraisal. So the house has to appraise at or above, and maybe they still do have that appraisal gap contingency in there. I don't see it anymore. And every time I don't see it, I sort of cringe, because if it were my buyer and they were paying cash, I still feel as if I would want that language in there.
Yeah. I always think of like, yes, if when you're cash, it's coming directly like out of your pocket and you're able to pay for that. Like if you don't have a home sale contingency, it's not contingent upon you selling your house. I always feel like the regret or buyer remorse is higher because you no longer are seeing that.
Yeah.
When it comes from, a secondary source like a bank, or, it's coming from your loan company, it's almost like you don't see it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's actually, I've never even actually thought about that, but I bet, unless you have a lot of that cash somewhere, the risk of, if the market, plummets or declines or anything, that risk is on you rather than on the bank, which is why interest rates are where they are right now, right? And then, Dee, the other thing too that I was thinking for you as well is another common thing that we see is people saying, oh, this is a cash offer. This is a cash offer. This is exactly what happened to me recently. And it's stuck in, like a 401k or it's somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So this
Right.
is the other thing too, is you know what? I think you're rubbing off on me. Sometimes I feel like I'm a detective, because then people will say, okay, I'm going to do cash. And that's what they write on the offer. Oh, and then I say, okay, I need proof of funds. So Dee, you wouldn't have proof of funds. You would say, all right, here's my house, right? I have all this equity in my house. Somebody who has like a bank account. All right, here's my Bank of America. Here's my savings account. Okay, you have the $500,000 there. Or the person who's giving me like TD Ameritrade or Schwab or whatever, they're giving me that, and I'm looking at it. Yeah, you have the money in there, but is it cash? Whatever. We could debate that another day when I'm on a show with McNamara Financial, who, of course, is on right after my show at 9 a.m., McNamara on Money. No idea what their topic is today, but you should listen in. And the other thing is, so that's my proof of funds. But what a lot of people do is, oh, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to say that I'm cash, but what I'm going to really try to do in my timeline of these next 30 to 45 days before we close, I really am going to try to get a loan. I'm just not going to let the seller know about that. And that's what we see a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why I am very, very cautious about when people say it's a cash offer, because people are just saying, and again, if they have that mortgage contingency, and again, we can do a whole show on this with an attorney, if they waive their mortgage contingency and if they don't get the loan, well, shame on them. They have also lost their deposit. So that's why when I am looking at offers, I'm making sure, no, you're not just putting $5,000 down to secure this house.
Yeah.
I want legit cash.
And not just I know we're talking about cash right here, but there are times when buyers change their loan programs during the during the process. So they might have gotten their offer accepted with with a certain type of loan. And then at some point during the process, they switch over. And generally, you find out when the appraisal happens because you're like, wait a minute, what? Like, what kind of appraisal is this? What do you mean I need to
We
do
always
this?
find out when we get another appraiser call and we're like, oh, we've already had the appraisal on this house. So, oh, that's interesting because another appraiser just called us to set up an appointment. So
Yeah.
that's how we always, as the listing agent, where we generally will always find out if a buyer decides to switch companies
Yeah.
midstream
Yeah.
because, they have to get another appraisal. So, Dee, with that whole cash thing and back to yours, I am not a financial advisor. That's why I have my brother-in-law and my niece, and that's why I hope you continue to listen on to them at 9 a.m. And actually, I was texting with my niece, Alyssa McNamara Reed, just this week, and we're talking about doing a back-to-back show probably in November. And that this might be a good topic for us to discuss, like what is the best way for you to leverage your equity in your home in order to make your next offer stand out from the crowd. Now, again, I'm going to say some things without telling you don't do this. You have to talk to somebody else about it. But what I have seen that just happened this year actually, and I thought it was, in my opinion, it worked. It was a very good approach. Somebody purchased one of our houses as cash. It was in a bank account. It was true cash, right? So I could see that it was coming from a bank. What they had done is very similar situation to you, no mortgage on their home. They wanted their next offer to look good because where they were purchasing, there are always several offers in this development where they were purchasing a condo. They actually got a line of credit on their house.
Oh, okay.
So they had because they had so much equity, they got a line of credit. And that line of credit was just sitting there. And again, I am 100% saying I don't know enough about that and the circumstances surrounding it. So that's why I have a very smart brother-in-law and niece that they can handle all that stuff. But that approach worked because you know what? Then they were able to get the condo that they were purchasing. They paid cash. It was actual cash. And then they put their house on the market without the stress of, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Knowing that their house was going to sell, put their house on the market, got several offers on their house. They sold it, paid off the home equity line of credit.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good approach.
Yeah, that sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah. Because where you're going to stand, Dee, is you don't want to be in a situation. And again, Dee, thank you for calling in, and I'm going to use you as an example just because you called. And, I know you've been stressing about this for a long time, how do I do this? And for you, it's, you don't have to answer any of these. If you sold your house right now and you didn't have another house to go to, do you have family or friends or sort of a backup type living situation that you could go to temporarily?
Not anymore.
Okay. So see, this is where my heart aches. And this is you know what? I wish I was going to say contestants for the presidency, the two contestants for the presidency. I wish that they would listen to little shows like ours. I wish that they would bring me up on their stage so I could say and give them examples like this. This is the person who has been working hard for her home, living in her home, and wants to right size, but is sort of stuck in a situation because she doesn't have, you know what I mean? In order for her,
Right.
yeah, right? So in order for you to negotiate the best on your next house, you're sort of stuck, right?
Right.
So we should connect, and I'll put that on my list of things to talk to Mike McNamara and Alyssa McNamara about and see if maybe we can do a show on that. I know Alyssa's tied up until November, but my brother-in-law. Hey, Tim, are they in studio today?
No,
Oh.
it's a pre-recorded show.
Oh, it is. Okay. So that would be, something that I can talk to them about, because the line of credit avenue. And if there's anybody out there that's listening right now that, knows more about this type of stuff, feel free to call in just so we can help Dee out, and find out more about doing that aspect of it. Dee, why don't you tell me what some of your fears and concerns have been over the last year or so in regard to this and selling your home?
Part of the problem is my house needs a few repairs, and I thought my son was going to help with the repairs, but he's the type of kid who starts things and doesn't finish them.
Mm-hmm.
So now there are holes in ceilings that need to be patched up. And there's a couple of other things that need to be done, which is why I've never had you guys down here, because, again, it's like a giant eyesore.
And just so you know,
those things-
that eyesore to you is nothing to us.
Yeah.
Like we don't see
seen it
those.
all.
Yeah, we don't see those things like really. But I understand and respect that. And then this might be the other thing to consider is, would having a line of credit behoove you, or an equity loan? Would that behoove you? Or I don't even know, maybe like a small little reverse mortgage. I don't know how old you are, though. And, we've had David.
I'm around your age.
Okay, so 56.
57.
57. Okay, so you're a little too young for a reverse mortgage. But, maybe like a line of credit or a equity loan, something on your house where you could hire somebody to make those repairs. Because, in all fairness to your son, I mean, he probably has his own life, his own family, his own things going on, right? So, and this is another, and Mel, I know all I've done is talk. Mel, don't you agree? This is what I'm seeing. Like, this is literally what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm working with right now. This is my literal passion right now, is to help that person that's in the middle right now, that's like, my kids said that they would help me, but they can't. Like they start, they can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
We hear it so much. And here's the thing: like they have their kids as well, or they have their lives as well. And not that you're not important. It's just that life is busy.
Yeah.
Life is just crazy for everybody right now. And I doubt your son is just sitting at home, sitting on a couch somewhere, right, doing nothing. You don't have to answer that. Yeah.
Yes, he is.
But,
He's not.
No, he's not, right? So, like, it isn't like, and he probably feels bad that he doesn't have the time to get there and help you do this. And that's why, you're in such a great place at 57, in my opinion, having your home already completely paid for. Maybe that is what you should consider, is maybe, and how much would it cost to do those things, or maybe it's a matter of finding some contractors. I mean, hey, we're here on WATD right now, and, maybe we have some contractors out there that say, hey, if you have no matter what you sold your house for, right, you would have a lot of equity. You have all equity in it. Maybe there is, a contractor or two out there that says, you know what, I'm happy to do this work for you, and I can get paid at closing. It doesn't sound like big things, a couple patches and stuff like that. What other little things are in there that you think need to be done? Because sometimes people think they have to do things that they don't.
The other thing that has to get done is there's some faucets that need to be replaced.
Okay.
And
That's not really that big, right? So you could get some faucets at Lowe's. I know a plumber. So, right.
As a matter of fact, I figured out I know your husband. He did work for us on our first house. I'm divorced now, but when we first got married, we owned a house in Pembroke, and Mark did all the work in Pembroke for us.
Nice. So you know a very good plumber. That's my husband. Yeah. So like a lot of times, and this is, Dee, it's so great. I'm glad that you did call in, because we do see you, on Facebook all the time, and you send us messages and we're following along with you. But like, I love this is the real life situation. These are the questions that not just you have, but like everybody has when we go to their house. And that's why I think it's important to all our other listeners. You call in somebody like a full-time real estate agent. This
Right.
is what we do. Like Melissa and I just a couple weeks ago, one of our listeners called us. We were down in Onset. We're going back down, there this week. And, you know, things that they think that need to be done that don't. What should I be doing? I think that one thing I came up with was I would actually just put a smaller picture there. Right? And that was more of a, more of a staging thing than anything else. But having somebody come in just to give you a list, but also having the resources of people that maybe you can call and giving you ideas of how can I get this done in another way.
Right.
So
That was the thing I wanted to ask you guys about also. And I did have an appointment with you guys a while back, but you guys had to cancel. And for whatever reason, we never rescheduled.
yeah, I think that something that else came up too, and it was, I think, like sort of I don't even know. It was a time crunch. And that is the other thing too, is I do appreciate that with, our clients and people. I think we had to recently do the same thing with the people that I was just talking about in Onset. The thing with real estate is a couple things. One is people think our schedule is flexible. I remember when I got into real estate, 22 years ago, I was like, oh yeah, I want a flexible schedule. My girls are young, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, today is my daughter's birthday. She turned 30 today. So happy birthday, Casey May.
Happy
Casey.
birthday.
Yes, 30. Oh, and I was just about to have her. I had her at like 9:20 or something. But where was I going with that? Oh, but that's why I first got into real estate. I was like, oh, it just seems like I could have a little bit more of a flexible schedule. Our schedule has to be flexible for everybody else. So things do come up. Like
Right.
if somebody, we're working a buyer, they get something under agreement and we have to go to a home inspection, or something comes up at one of our listings. Like that's the only reason why we would ever postpone a meeting with you. But we're happy to set something up with you too. So you can give us a call in the office next week and we can chat if you
Okay.
want to do that. But you know what? I'm happy that you called. We only have 5 minutes left, and we just want to get through a couple other things. Unless you had any other
Okay.
question that we can help you with right now.
Nope, not that I can think of.
All right. Well, Dee, have a wonderful Saturday. Thanks for listening.
Thanks
You
for
too.
listening and calling, Dee. And we'll see you soon,
Thanks.
too.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Bye-bye, Dee.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So I'm really glad that you called. Like that's the real life, and those are the scenarios that people come up with. Like, do I list first? Do I sell 1st? So wrapping it all up is
Well, I love how we have a topic and then it just becomes so many other different topics. And we're like, okay, now we got to do this show again.
I know.
We got to do the show again, but that's how it works. And I know that's how your brain works. And, we talk about this all the time. We have these open discussions here at the office every Tuesday and even throughout the week. And we just sort of bounce ideas off of each other and just come up with some strategies and everything. And, it just sort of snowballs. It's like you talk about one thing and it leads to another and another and another. And that's sort of what happens here on the show too.
Yeah.
So.
And Dee's call actually did look at our agenda, like we were able to sort of hit upon a lot of things. So just recapping everything, do you buy first? Do you sell first? Do you do them at the same time? Really depends. Everybody's situation is different. If you buy first, then financially you should be secure enough that you are able to do that, right? And if you do buy first, like with Dee, when I was talking about that situation of, having that line of credit and you're at least like, then you put in, you put an offer in on something and you're like, yep, I'm actually real cash. There's a timeline. So have your house ready to be on the market. That is the biggest advice I have for somebody who doesn't want to do it sort of at the same time and put in the contingency. If you want your offer to look best as a buyer, you should have your house either under agreement or you should be prepared to do it at the same time. But what I want to say is, so if you were to do like that line of credit thing, or if you were going to do cash and not have your house on the market, have your house ready to be on the market, because once your offer gets accepted and you're signed P&S, your house should go on the market. And most times we will still be able to line that up.
Yeah.
We'll be able to line it up that you're buying and selling at the same time. So, anyways, we have 3 minutes left. I know we have some open houses, so do you want to discuss that?
We do have some open houses. So today, Matt Mahoney is hosting an open house at 12 Running Stream Road in Rehoboth.
Did you hear what that little brat did to me the other day?
Oh yeah, he honked at
Oh
me
yeah,
when
he thought
scared
that.
you.
Yeah, he thought that was really
that
funny.
little brat.
That little brat. He was on the phone with Trish and Nick Flynn, and I was on the phone with Mary Horton, and I got to a set of lights. The truck comes up behind me, and the light turned green, like literally, and I put my foot on the gas, and he's a long honk on his horn, scared long honk on his horn.
A long horn.
And I looked at
Long
my
honk on the horn. Hey, what are you doing here?
yeah. I think the Dorchester might have just came out
Just
of
a
me.
bit, yeah. The honesty came out.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So I look in my rearview mirror, didn't recognize that it was him because I was so PO'd about it. And
jerk.
Yeah, what a jerk. Mary's like, who was that, A? And I was like, yeah, no kidding. Like, but we were going back and forth. He called me. He was hysterical.
Oh yeah, he thinks he's the
Yeah, so
funniest
that little
thing ever.
brat's in Rehoboth if you want to see him.
Yeah, he's over at 12 Running Stream Road, Rehoboth, 10 to 12. And when you see him leaving his open house, you can honk at him.
Yeah, honk at him. I want everybody to go to his open house and just lay on the horn. That's what I want everybody to do.
That is so funny. He's there from 10 to 12 today, 7:20. That's on for 7:25. Kristen Howlett has a brand new listing, One Ledge Road in Norton.
Cute.
Adorable. She's going to be
Cute.
there tomorrow, 11 to 1. That is on for $389. What a cute little ranch over there. And then, of course, every single Saturday and Sunday, Sharon and Mary, the McNamara Horton Group, has Cushing Trails in Hanson from 10 to 12 and Cochise Estates in West Bridgewater from 10 to 2 every Saturday and
Yes.
Sunday.
So I will be at Cushing Trails tomorrow, 10 to 2. So if you want to, 10 to 12. So if you want to come by and say hello, look at some new construction townhouses, feel free to do that. And we'll see you next week, Tim.
See you next Saturday.
Yeah.
See you next month.
Yeah, exactly. And don't tune in on Tuesday. We're only here on Saturdays.
It's a neighborly day in this beautiful